Hello, well, welcome back to the woods, and welcome back to something you're all going to love, a little knife review. And that knife review is of this, and this is the Modern Pukko XS from a Polish company called Pas. Now, blades.co.uk sent me this knife over for review and asked me if I'd like to have a look at it. Pas, a Polish company, are starting a bushcraft line, and this was one of the models in that line. So this was one particularly caught my eye, so they sent it over. So as you can see, it's quite a compact little knife. First impression's pretty good. Comes with a leather sheath, a handle made of ash, a carbon steel blade, which is a CR80 V2 I think, and size wise, as you can see, the handle is quite small but it fits the palm of my hand, and the blade, it's about a 3.5 inch blade, so it's a pretty good size for bushcraft. The sheath that it comes with, it's a belt sheath, and you can see it's made from a reasonably good quality leather. Stitching is pretty good, it's all machine done, and it's got a rivet at the top end and a rivet at the bottom too. So overall, first impressions, pretty good. So the cost, very reasonable, $34.95, and I think for that sort of money it seemed like a pretty good package. Now, one of the first things I noticed with it was that it actually came with quite a heavy secondary bevel, to say the least. Now, as a Pas, I looked at some of their other knives, and they produce a sort of tactical survival type knives where that sort of heavy secondary bevel does make a lot of sense. The knife was reasonably sharp, but the bevel wasn't set up for bushcraft, certainly not woodcrafting, and doing things like cutting notches in sticks, cutting and shaving up feather sticks, really difficult. Very good at battening, but for the finer tasks, no good at all. What I also noticed on it was this little guard on the bottom here was also quite sharp. So it wasn't a marvellous start. I then put it onto a ferro rod, and the ferro rod, again, the back of the spine not particularly well squared, so it wasn't that 90-degree spine that gives us that really good shower of sparks from a ferro rod. However, I didn't want to give up on it, because actually the overall design of the knife I really did like. So I thought, what could I do to improve it? Well, the first thing was I took a diamond file to the back and I squared off the spine so it would throw a good shower of sparks. Indeed, now it does throw a very good shower of sparks, and for the 10 minutes that it took me to do it, it was well worth it. The secondary bevel, well, that proved a little more challenging to remove. I got the set of diamond stones out, and gradually we've managed to get it down to almost a Scandi grind. It's got a tiny micro bevel, and that was only because I got it to a full Scandi and the edge very slightly rolled. It had a quite a heavy burr on it, so I shot that off, and what I've now got is something that, well, will quite easily shave feather sticks, and indeed it will do all the things that we want it to do in bushcraft. It will now quite happily do all the cuts required on a tri-stick. It will shave feather sticks. Indeed, it takes such a good edge, it easily shaves hair off your arm. And the edge retention, I have to say, absolutely phenomenal. So with a bit of work, for your £35, actually This is a bloody good little knife. The Pas, if you're watching, which I'm sure you will, because I'll email bladesco.uk and they'll pass it on to you. I think what you need to do, if it's a bushcraft knife that you want to turn out that's going to be really good, number one, change that little guard, round it off, square the back so it's a 90-degree spine. But the biggest one of all, what you could also do is make this 0 Scandi grind. That way it will be set up for carving wood. Also with the handle, make it 10 to 15 mils longer. And with that done, I think you'd have a pretty good knife. One other thing you could do is, instead of this, a right-handed sheath, which I think they only do right-handed. I didn't see an option for a left-handed, but they could make an ambidextrous neck sheath, because this is a small, light knife. It will do some quite heavy-duty tasks, but it's not heavy. You don't need a belt loop on the back. Just have it as a neck sheath. And if you made an ambidextrous one, well, I think you'd be on to a winner. So that is my little review of this, the Modern Pukko from the Pas. I think it's a cracking little knife. Yes, I had to put a bit of work into it, but for £35, I think it's an absolute steal. And if you're just starting out, or if you're on a tight budget, this would make a very, very good knife. A bit more bushcrafty than a Mora, in as much as there's not any plastic. You get a leather sheath, you get a decent handle, and I actually think it is a nice knife. The Pas, make those changes to it, and I think you have got an absolute winner. Thanks goes out to bladesco.uk for sending this out in the first place, and well, go and check them out. I'll put a link in the description box down below for this over on their site. What you can also do while you're down in the description box down below is check out my social media, so Instagram, Facebook, and there is also a link down there to my Etsy shop. Pop over there, there are my patches, plus a whole load of other stuff. So go down and check it out. If you enjoyed this video, then hit that thumbs up button. I think that's everything. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe in the woods.